This morning, we're going to tread boldly with Father Nathan Cromly.
This is Tread Boldly, Leadership Lessons from the Saints, with Father Nathan Cromly.
I'm Father Cromly, the president of the St. John Institute, and this is Tread Boldly, Leadership Lessons from the Saints. If we're honest with ourselves, we can all remember times when we felt called to do things which were a little bit higher than what we'd done before. We were called to stretch into new places, and that's not always a comfortable thing to do. From young couples who spend their first few years of marriage getting to know each other and what it's like to be married, to parents who have to adjust their lifestyles to welcome a new life and to rear them according to God, to all of us in our careers who are constantly faced with challenges and opportunities to grow. It just seems to be part of life for us to have to move from what is comfortable and known into what is unknown and oftentimes uncomfortable. Growth is never easy. But as they say, the only thing that doesn't change in life is the fact that life has to change. How do we face this? Where is God in the midst of all of that challenge? Well, if we look at the life of St. Joseph in the Bible, we find a man who was challenged to grow, challenged to take a step forward in a way that far surpasses the mere challenges of our practical existence. After all, St. Joseph was given the call to take as his spouse the Virgin Mother of God. Before he was married to her, it was made known to him in a dream that the woman whom he was to marry was already with child by the working of the Holy Spirit, and that the child to be born to her was the Son of God. Now just think about what that means for St. Joseph. This means that his life will never be normal, that he would not have the comfort of being able to walk in the shoes of fathers who had gone before him. No one on earth had ever been asked to be the foster father of God, and no one on earth had ever been asked to be the husband of the Mother of God. Already it would be a challenge to be the spouse of someone holier than you, but to be the spouse of the Mother of God, it would mean becoming holy yourself. He would have to walk in the footsteps of his spouse, to allow her to teach him the secrets of intimacy with God. After all, we're not talking about just being friends with the Virgin Mary or acquaintances with the Virgin Mary. We're talking about being her husband. And Joseph stepped into this role. He was more than a silent figure on the sidelines of the gospel story. He actively fulfilled the role of the spouse of the Mother of God. And as anyone who has been married can bear witness, really espousing someone to yourself means a union of heart. Or as the Catholic Church spells it out in her canon law, marriage is a sharing of the totality of one's life. And that means everything Mary was living, Joseph shared, protected, kept, encouraged, and provided for. And this meant that in a real way, he had a share to the greatness that Mary was given when she was called to such a high vocation, the highest of vocations, motherhood of the Son of God. But you see, for St. Joseph, this was more than a privilege. This was a summons and a call to dying to himself. He was espoused to a woman who had been claimed by another. She'd been claimed by God and had made a vow of virginity to God, which she upheld under the watchful protection of St. Joseph's love. What a call by God, to be someone to whom he could entrust this woman, his daughter, who was living such an intimate secret of love with God. Only a man who was living also an intimate secret of love with God could do this. The task and mission God called him to became his pathway to holiness. And it's the same for us today. Being a Christian means allowing God to summon us higher, take us further, challenge us to grow. It's never easy, and it's seldom comfortable. But something St. Joseph teaches us is that love allows us to do all things. Because St. Joseph really loved the Virgin Mary, he could respect her intimacy with God and the demands of her consecration to the Father in the Son. And because he loved God, he could accept that way of being, that leadership in the Holy Family, as the way where he would glorify God and come to know the power of his grace in his life. St. Joseph went beyond all of his fears and all of his selfishness to take the Virgin Mary as his wife, and by his love to tread boldly in the place where God asked him to lead.